Good morning, friends. Just wanted to welcome you this morning to our sweet home life. And I am decided to make some beef stew for lunch. So what I have in my bowl here is a couple of pounds of beef strips along with some flour, some seasoned salt, a little bit of garlic salt, and black pepper. So I'm going to stir this up. The flour, along with the spices. I'm going to take this and I'm going to brown it. And this flour helps for it to brown as well as thicken the gravy in the beef stew. Okay, so over here I'm going to turn the stove on and put a little bit of olive oil in my pan and let it get hot. I got carrots and onion and potatoes and celery to add to this, and also the onion soup mix from Aldi's. So I'm just going to add a pack of this after I browned my meat. And then later I also may add pepper to gravy mix if I see that I need it for thickness. I'm not sure yet. So that's what we're going to have today is beef stew. So we're going to take this over here and see if our oil is getting hot. And also I have the oven set for 375 because I'm going to make some cornbread to go with the beef stew. I love cornbread with my beef stew. So that's what we will be having for lunch today, beef stew and cornbread. So I have about 2 or 3 tablespoons of oil in my pan. I'm going to add this meat and let it brown. And that flour as well will help thicken the gravy. So let's get that to browning. And while that's cooking, I will whip up my cornbread. With the cornmeal, I usually just kind of eyeball it. Pour a couple of cups of cornmeal. And add an egg. And shake the buttermilk and add the buttermilk. Stirring it up here to get the right consistency. And just pour some out. Okay, so we have our cornmeal, an egg, and our buttermilk. Kind of stirring that up until our skillet gets hot. Stir our meat over here. It's smelling good. we'll add a little bit more oil to that. But I had some of the flour. But it's browning very well. Cut my stove down a little bit. I have a little bit too high, I believe. I'm going to put some tea on. Just going to add some water. Let this cook for a couple of minutes in the microwave. And then I'll add some tea bags. Going to add a couple of cups of water. Since my meat is brown. Stir. A little bit of this Worcestershire sauce and some flavor, and then our onion soup mix. I'll allow this to cook a little bit like this before adding the vegetables. Good flavoring going on. And in this bowl, I have celery, potatoes, carrots, and onion sliced to add. Let me see if my skillet's hot enough for the cornbread. Cut it on a little bit and let it get good and hot. And while that's getting good and hot, I'm going to put some tea bags in. I usually use up about 4 to 5. I believe I'll go ahead and use 5 today. Make a little bit larger tea pitcher. So I'm going to add the tea bags to my hot water and let that sit. Okay, stir up stew a little bit. I know one thing that I forgot, and that is maybe some meat tenderizer. I should have sprinkled this on the meat earlier, but I did not, so I'll see how this works. Just putting a little bit in there. But that type of meat sometimes a little bit tough. Okay. But we'll boil it till it's tender. Okay, I'm going to cut this front skillet off and add my cornbread. Hear that sizzle? That'll make you a good brown crust. We'll add that to the oven. Let it cook about 20 minutes. Okay. Cook a little bit in that gravy. And I have it on about medium. Cook in a few minutes. Okay. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more water to this. It's kind of cooking down. So I'm going to add a couple of cups of water. Stir that. It's a brown gravy. That's looking good. That's what we're wanting. And so this is my vegetables. Celery, potatoes, carrots, onion. Pour those in there. I'm going to add enough water to cover the vegetables, so I will need a little bit more water. And of course you can cook this in a crock pot. Before you leave to go to work, brown your meat, and then put it in a crock pot with your vegetables. And then when you get home, you will have a good hot meal. So I'm just putting water in to cover the vegetables. And of course, cooking it like this, you're going to have to watch it to make sure it has enough water. So right now, the vegetables are covered with water. And so I'm going to cook it about an hour like that. And we'll come back and have a taste. Okay, we're going to have a couple of tablespoons of flour here. And I'm going to add a little bit of water to thicken our gravy a little bit. And stir that up. Because our stew has been cooking for about an hour now. And the vegetables seem tender and the gravy is pretty thick, but I just wanted it to be a little bit thicker. So I'm going to add this mixture of flour and water and allow that to cook in and thicken our gravy up. And that was going to be delicious. As Mark's mother would say, nothing but good. And so while that kind of simmers just a little bit and thickens up, I'm going to pour our tea. And I heated some water for 2 minutes in the microwave and then put in about 5 tea bags. And here's our tea pitcher. And I'm going to add this scoop of sugar, which is about a half a cup and just a little bit more than that. And then I will pour the tea in. Add the water. I'll fill the pitcher on up this time because usually I just fill it about this much when I put 4 bags, but I put 5, so I'll go ahead and fill it all the way up. And give it a stir. Okay, now give our stew a stir. It's looking so good. I'll go ahead and slice this cornbread. Look how well our cornbread turned out. And what I did is just put this oil in the skillet and put it in the oven while the oven was preheating. And then I took the skillet out and set it on the stove and let it get real hot. And then I poured my cornbread batter in it to make a crispy cornbread. See how good that looks? Beautiful cornbread. And, oh, about these iron skillets. I love making cornbread in iron skillet. And people talk about seasoning these, but once you get them seasoned by just putting grease in them and putting them in a hot oven and letting them bake on 400 for a little while, and then take them out, how you keep them seasoned is after you wash them, you take them and dry them, and then put a little bit of oil in them and just put them in your oven and let them sit with the oil. And then the next time you get ready to cook, they're ready for you. Okay, let's serve up a bowl of this stew. Get a little bit more juice. That spoon there wasn't allowing us to get a lot of juice and gravy. I like the gravy. Okay, see how pretty that is? And we can slice the cornbread. Looks delicious. Nothing but good. Nothing but good, Granny. That's what we call Mark's mother. It's Granny. And she loved to cook. Okay, we'll cut that off. So we'll take a taste and see how it tastes. And we have our tea. Get some ice and have a sip of tea. Okay. Sweet tea, beef stew, and cornbread. That is very, very good. Very good. Will you come join me? Thank you for joining me today in cooking beef stew and cornbread and sweet tea. And we'll see you next time.